Hey guys, it is free tea party day, which is perfect for what I want to do today, which is going back into Moonborn. We're running through season 2, doing the Victor romance path mixed with the path of blood, because we didn't do either of those things last time. And so we're going to go through and do that. That's perfect. I kind of want to do it with when the gyms were going on, because I know Victor's part is kind of expensive, but the Moonborn story as a whole, I kind of bought all of the expensive like clothes and at least things that we need to find victory in the end. Yeah, and not have everybody die around us. So I'm not too concerned about the gyms per se, more so the teacups, because I wanted to do that. And I also, probably after I finish playing this season 2, while I still have a bit of time today, I might do, I think I need to go back and play Moonborn. Not Moonborn. Got Moonborn in the brain. No, go back and play, what do you call it? Is it in drama? Where is this? Okay. Go back and play Wave Patrol. Yeah, because I didn't have enough points, so I need to go back and replay through season 1. So this is a perfect opportunity to do that as well. But for right now, we're kicking off on season 2, episode 1. And we're just going to do what we did last time, just skip to the scenes where we're using our Path of Blood. Actually, I think one of the first scenes starts off using Gift of Blood. So, because I think we leave off on the attack. I think that's what happens first. So let's play. As you see, we don't have to use any of our teacups, which is super fun. I think the first thing that pops off is we're in a battle. So I might just go in. Okay, we're about to leave. That's right. And so, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on a little bit because they have to go through the whole thing with the, where am I? Right? Yeah, they have to go through the whole thing where we get Max gets the little mark or something, like he puts a mark or something like that he's gonna protect us or something like that. Okay, and then we'll get to the battle in a little bit. Okay, here we go. In this scene, we're going to be using our Path of Blood. So let's go ahead and continue this fight. I'm interested to see how fighting is different. Because usually we just did a lot of like mind manipulation, but now we're gonna focus on our actual strength and kicking butt. So I'm interested to see how that goes down. So that's super fun. Oh, also don't mind the crazy mess behind me. Like my baby shower was this weekend, so we were just opening stuff, and yeah, there's stuff like everywhere, like baby stuff, baskets, and all kind of crazy stuff. So don't mind any of that. I'll clear that out after a while. Okay. Guys, get him down. Mia heard a rolling, a primeval growl. It was not a vampire, someone much bigger. Gotta get out. If Mia were still human, nothing would have happened. She pressed the door with all her might, and it opened with a rattle, freeing her leg. A second later, and the girl was already assessing what was happening. These are the vampires that came to the wolves, accompanying Howard. He's not here himself, but 4 on 1 is a lot. Even though Max looks very strong. One of the vampires noticed Mia and rushed towards her. The speed of his movements exceeded all human limits. Dodge. Mia swung to the side, and the vampire's fist just slid over her head. The girl hit her enemy, aiming at his face. Ha! The vampire dodged without difficulty and attacked again. This time, Mia did not have time to do anything. She fell next to Max's car, still lying on its side. If it weren't for Mia's new reflexes, the vampire's blow would have been fatal, but at the last moment she dodged, and he only hurt her shoulder a little. Who are you? Mia rolled away and jumped to her feet. Why are you helping that beast? Now you want to ask questions? You attacked me first. Using her enemy's confusion, the girl rushed at him and hit his chin. Pain shot up her arm as if she was hitting a concrete wall, but did not feel any better for the vampire. His head jerked back and he fell to the ground. Mia piled on Max's car with all of her weight. The vampire rose easily to his feet, but it was too late. The SUV crashed onto him with a creaking sound. 2 tons of metal slammed down, crushing his lower body. Damn. He was twitching, trying to get out, but even with his superhuman strength, the weight of the car was too great. Mia hurried to help Max. The werewolf fought with 2 opponents. The third one was nowhere to be seen. Has Max already dealt with him? The wolf grabbed one of his enemies and threw him against a tree. Oof. The girl understood that the vampire's wounds healed too quickly. She had to act urgently. I'm so used to going to suppress the wills. I like my mouse goes to that one first. The enemy had already risen to his feet. In one jump, Mia got near and kicked him in the head. Take that. He fell again, but immediately tried to get up. Take that. Mia struck one blow after another, but the vampire wouldn't lie still and didn't lose consciousness. Another blow. The girl finally hit him in the temple. The enemy shook his head and fell, his face buried in the grass. Don't stand there, Mia. Finish him. Max growled. The voice of the half-wolf was distorted, but Mia understood it. The werewolf was right. But I don't know how to kill. As if in a dream, Mia took a heavy stone with both hands. She picked it up and, sharply with force, threw it at the head of the vampire. Crack! The grass around the stone turned scarlet. The body on the ground convulsively twitched and Mia doubled over. She vomited. Her hands were shaking. Tears flowed from the girl's eyes. I've killed him. The girl looked at her hands with fear. Oddly enough, they were clean. Covered in tears, Mia turned to Max. He tore his enemy's throat, blood spluttered all around. The vampire fell. The wolf sharply bent over him and clenched his jaws. Mia saw the fourth attacker a little off to the side. Damn. The thing she saw made her squeamish again. The vampire and his head lay separately. The girl turned away. She heard Max's voice from behind her. Are you alright? Not injured? No? And you? Mia wanted to turn around toward the werewolf, but he stopped her. Don't look. I'm okay. Better watch the road. We don't need an audience now. Yeah, the spectacle could be more than they bargained for. Dead vampires don't scatter to ashes or turn into statues. Nothing spectacular. Just dead people. Against her will, she squinted her eyes at the vampire she had killed. Hardly anyone believed this death was the result of a car accident. Max approached the overturned SUV. Listen, let's make a deal, eh? The werewolf grinned, leaning toward the crushed enemy. Don't. What do you know about the attack on the wolf cub? Nothing. I swear I don't know anything. It wasn't me. In one motion, Max finished off the vampire. Ugh. Muck. The half-wolf spat blood. Mia, how are you holding on? Not very good. The girl's hands were still trembling as she looked around, a little distant. Oh, well, you get your share. Oh, and we're also still doing diplomacy because Fortitude Mia is a little too rude for my taste. So I really, really just don't want to do that. So I'm not. You're pale, but this is nothing. It will pass. We must get out of here as soon as possible. Do you hear me? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on from here. But yeah, that's kind of a little taste of what it's like to have her fight a little bit differently. And it'll take some getting used to for me. For sure. So I'm interested to see how some of her further fights happen, like when she's kidnapped. So that'll be fun. All right, so we are at Victor's after finding out about werewolves, and we realized that he didn't tell us about them. And so here you can decide to unleash your feelings. I thought that it would help that maybe she wouldn't go in so aggro, but it doesn't really matter, actually. So I'm just going to have her take a deep breath this time and not key his cars, but since we're planning on dating him, so we do this a little bit differently. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. The girl closed her eyes, repeating several times, I'm calm, I'm calm. Coming to the door, she knocked. Victor opened with the book in his hands. He noticed discontent on Mia's face immediately. Hello? Come on in. It's kind of like you get there and you come in, you're like, we need to talk. Like, probably the worst thing you want to hear in a relationship, usually. The girl entered and stood by the fireplace. You're not in good spirits? The vampire felt that something was wrong with Mia. He looked closely. What happened? Mia felt that every single word from Victor compressed an invisible spring in her chest. What's the matter, Mia? What's the matter? Great question. The $1 million question. Do you have any theories? Maybe your vampire scent will tell you? You shouldn't talk to me like that. The critical point was reached and the spring was released. The girl started to cry. What? Should not talk like that? Yes, you really should not. The vampire's voice had become ominously quiet. Sit down and explain, finally, what happened. Mia didn't even think to sit down, but answered the question. I was bitten by a vampire. Who dared to touch you? I will kill him. I have no idea who he is. So he didn't just bite. This creature drank my blood. I would have died, you know. I was saved by a werewolf. Mia paused deliberately. Van Art averted his eyes. Busted. That's not all. I started to turn. Victor lost his cool demeanor. What? No, I'll immediately see if you were a vampire. Mia, you're wrong. Everything is fine with you. You're a human. Well, no. In an instant, Mia was in front of Victor. How do you like my reflexes? Is this normal for a human? Huh? Damn it. The girl was already calmer. Her anger gradually died down. I'm getting used to it, I guess. It's impossible to be constantly stressed. But Victor was impressed by the news. He's still standing there holding his book. I love that line. Everything went wrong for me. It's not clear who I am. My fighting and hypnosis are weaker than a regular vampire, but the sun doesn't affect it. And I've also killed. Human? Did you feel hunger? Fortunately, no. I'm not drawn to blood. I killed a vampire. Well. Vanna looked at Mia in complete bewilderment, then put down the book, finally, and touched the girl's shoulder. Sit down, please. Let's start from the beginning. Mia sat on the sofa, still frowning at the vampire. First, explain why you didn't tell me about werewolves and the conflict with them. You had a lot to deal with. You had several close brushes with death. I did not want to hurt you even more. Your familiar world was collapsing. I thought it would be better if you first got used to the existence of vampires. Got used to it? You miscalculated. That's not the best solution. The attitude makes me feel stupid. I understand that you want it better. You helped me a lot, more than once, but I actually not do that anymore. Distrust and similar secrets destroy good relationships. And then Victor surprised Mia. He chivalrously, I can't, look, leave me alone, knelt and kissed her hand. Please accept my apologies. I was wrong. I didn't take into account how wise you are, and that you're able to react reasonably to unexpected events. The vampire's old-fashioned gesture in the 21st century might have seemed strange. However, Victor looked elegant. Apology accepted. Mia finally pulled herself together. Bring some tea. The story will be long. Bernard tried to look as usual, cold and a bit detached, but it was obvious that he was concerned. Just a minute. The vampire brought a tray with a tea set. Black, green? Black and stronger. Green. The Sichuan province of China has always been famous for its teas. Me took a cup of the aromatic tea. Brings a little bit of flowers, and it's not bitter. Oh, smells a little bit of flowers, and it's not bitter. Unusual. It is. The tea was grown on Mount Imei, under the cover of fog. Imei? I don't know. It absorbed all the wisdom of those places to give it to you, filling your thoughts with clarity. You're saying it as though you're casting a spell. Hopefully the witchcraft will work. I lived in the East for several years, in China too. Oh, we're gonna get to that, because I want to know all about your past. You're trying to distract me. Enough. I already calmed down. Well, then tell me. The girl described the events of the previous days, about the bite and the meeting of the werewolves, the beginning of her turning and Howard's appearance on the werewolves' territory, the battle with the vampires on the way to the city. She omitted only the parts about the ritual of blood debt and the lives of werewolves. It intuitively seemed to her that sharing those details would be unethical. What happened to you is unbelievable. Victor showed no emotion, just walked a couple of times from the window to the fireplace and back. Noel is old. Maybe he's heard of something like that? To cut his phone down and turn on the speakerphone. Hi. Hi, I'm here with Mia. Good evening, Noel. Hello, Mia. How are you? Strange. Have you heard of a vampire biting someone and stopping halfway? What's this nonsense? The victim remains human, but acquires a number of our abilities. That, by the way, work in the light of the sun. Noah was silent for a few seconds. Victor, this is impossible. Mia would have to disagree with you. Mia, did this happen to you? Yes. We will not discuss the details on the phone. I will try to figure something out. He says that, but then he never does. Noel doesn't do anything this entire story. Thank you. Victor took away the phone and looked at the girl. We'll figure it out, just do not panic. I'm not panicking. What about Howard? I don't understand what he is doing, but I think everything is clear. The vampires want the wolves to leave and don't care about the means. I think you're not quite right. Ethan Wood maintains an albeit fragile, but still, a peaceful truce with the werewolves. Nobody needs an open conflict. Nobody? The majority do not, in any case. The prince does not know, I'm sure. Not his style. Oh no, his style is total destruction. And if the wolves go to war first, if Howard provokes them, then Wood, even if he won it, could not stop the bloodshed. This a game of power? Maybe. Do you need to tell him about Howard's intrigue? Howard's a respected vampire. Words not enough. We'll need proof. When we provide that, no one will interfere with my revenge. His assistant attacked you. I would not allow that to stand. However, for starters, I would like to deal with your strange transformation. My head is spinning from it all. I don't want to think about it anymore. I'll go. Stay. Last time we returned the keys. This time we're gonna stay. I returned the keys last time because I was feeling kind of betrayed by him not telling me. And Max was just really awesome. So this time we're gonna choose a little bit differently. See where this leads us. I had time to think that you wouldn't offer for me to stay. You have the keys to this house. It's weird to invite you, don't you think? Not at all. This is your home. You don't even know who it belongs to. It's your stuff all over the place. You know perfectly well what I mean. Van Aert smiled. Taking the girl by the hand, he led her deep into the house. It's a really interesting styled room. I don't know. I didn't expect it. Wow, just like that? Mia, sit down. Except there was nowhere to sit but the bed. The girl sat down. The vampire was standing against the wall. Since you decided to stay, it means you do not regret what happened between us, and thus you're ready to try to accept me for who I am. First, I do not like it when someone disobeys me. I understand it will be difficult to get used to. You are a spirited girl. However, in this house, you will try. Otherwise? Otherwise? You seem to search carefully for an answer. Otherwise, I will punish you. You sound like a maniac. Like a vampire. You can always leave. Okay. Second, you would try to come here as soon as I want. Otherwise, will you punish me? Right. Will there be a third? Of course. You would not try to change me. That's all. In the closet, you will find things to please me. Such as... Take a look if you want to find out. Mia, you must understand. I lived for many years and they did not go by unnoticed. Feelings tend to become less significant. Being in love is no longer exciting. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Looking for inspiration, trying to prove to themselves that there is meaning in their existence, vampires are often drawn to romance. You said I was dear to you. It's true, and this is amazing. I did not think this would happen. I'm not ready to talk about feelings. Do not expect much from me. Let time itself put everything in its place. Just one moment. Victor Van Aert left the room. Why did I use his whole name there? Okay, it's still a little strange, but a little strange for me, but I'm trying to get into it. Okay. All right, I think I'll stay. Curiosity is not a vice. The girl opened the closet. All the shelves except two were empty. A negligee lay on one, and a massage candle was on the other one. The vampire silently entered, holding a long-stemmed scarlet rose. I like your inquiring mind, especially in my bedroom. Some of the shit he says, though. Okay. It just makes me giggle. Victor easily picked up the girl in his arms. He took a few steps and tossed her on the bed. He placed the rose near her. Taking Mia's palm into his hands, he gently kissed her wrist. Quietly, without showing impatience, Victor began to undress her. I feel like the music is a little low for my ears. turn it up a little bit. Alright. His fingers in the fabric of the bedspread were cold on the girl's skin. It's all silk. His bed, his touch. He himself is like this fabric. Delicate and cold. The girl arched her back, helping to take off her clothes. Victor lifted her hips, and the last thing separating him from her naked body fell to the floor. The vampire rose and took a few steps back. I'm admiring. You're incredibly beautiful right now. Seeing you, Francesco Petrarch would write many more sonnets. I suppose we're supposed to wait. I think that's how this works. The girl tried not to move, allowing him to admire her. She had to wait a long while. While unbuttoning his shirt, the vampire approached. He lay down next to her, taking the rose. Okay. The flower touched Mia's chest. Outlining the shape of her body, the bud slipped, sometimes as low as her belly. The velvet touches tickled slightly but were pleasant. Her excitement gradually increased. That's not useful to say. The girl pulled herself up, hugging the vampire. He gently pulled away. Lie quietly. Do not move. Yeah. Mia accepted the terms of the game. Good girl. The rose touched her ear. The rustling petals raised a wave of goosebumps. Immediately, Victor pressed a flower stalk to Mia's neck. Its thorns scratched her skin. The girl shuddered. Quiet, honey. Quiet. The bud touched her lips, her thighs. The tenderness of it all made her head spin with desire. The thorns brought pain that felt like electrical sparks. The cycle repeated over and over again. Mia completely lost control of herself. She had no idea how sensual she could be. When the vampire's lips touched her lustful body, Mia screamed. Victor's kisses were everywhere. Everywhere. The world suddenly shrank and exploded with hundreds of bright fireworks. The vampire was smiling. Mia slowly calmed down. Victor, you did it again. It's not fair. I felt uncomfortable. He put his finger on her lips. You should feel like the most beautiful girl on earth. Still, it's weird. Be patient. Next time I'm all yours. Mia looked at him slyly. Entirely mine? I promise. Good. The rose will be white for you. They lay there for a long time cuddling. Then Mia moved. Doesn't it bother you at all that I'm, well, half vampire? Of course it does, but this will have no effect on our relationship. First of all, you are an amazing girl. I have to go home now. Tomorrow I have to go to the newspaper. I do not want to put pressure on you, but stay. What are we going to do? If you want, I will teach you to use audio equipment. Alright, I'm interested. Until late at night, the girl learned to record sound, mix tracks. She even tried to mix her favorite track. The time flew by unnoticed. I can't wait to make that song. I love that song so much. I wish you heard it more throughout the story, but I like it. What mix did we do last time? Maybe we should change it up this time. I feel like we did classical last time. Should we do pop? I don't know. In the morning, Mia went to Supernatural Daily. I got some roses. I don't know where they're from. I don't remember this part. The little postcard said, as gentle as you are. Instead of a signature, there was only one letter, V. Secret admirer? The word admirer would not really fit. So you know who sent them. Yeah. Camilla clearly hoped to hear more, but Mia disappointed her and did not explain anything. Okay, that's adorable. I forgot. I didn't know you sent something. Yeah, that's really nice. It was time to act. Just gotta be careful not to kill anyone. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that they only let me put my mask on. I forgot this scene was gonna happen, and they wouldn't let me change my clothes during the scene. Like, hold on, let's see. Here, you can't change your clothes. So she's here in this fancy ass dress. Her earrings are popped out of the freaking mask. And, oh my gosh. And she's just standing there with the stupid mask on her face. And I'm like, how are they not going to recognize you? This is ridiculous. But it's also hilarious. So, what did you do to Dee? Where'd you kill her? Yeah, and how? Don't even try to deny any of it, buddy. We've got all the proof we need. Mia quickly approached. One of the cops noticed her, and he drew his pistol from the holster. Hold it. Get those hands where I can see him. She needs to decide who to disarm first. The second cop, because he's the one with the gun. The next second, the girl was next to the policeman. Stop. Hit him or suppress his will. Hit. Mia punched him hard in the solar plexus, sending him back and causing him to drop the gun. The officer turned to her. What the hell? Take that. He also fell groaning and pulling his knees to his chest. Stanley is scared. The first cop fired, just missing. Fisher had been in the way, disrupting his aim. The girl did not allow for a second shot. The pistol flew away, and the towering man grabbed at his now broken arm. Oh my goodness. He obviously did not want to fight Mia. The second lay unconscious. The officer didn't move either, just sat moaning softly. The girl turned off the camera on her smartphone and leaned in over the officer. Now then, I've got video here of you trying to beat a confession out of him. Got the whole conversation right here. Now you have dirt. Just remember that you come looking for me or Stanley. Grasping Fisher's hand, she pulled him along. Let's go. Alright, Simon should be here to give me my picture. And this time I should be able to see on my desk. So, yes please. Let me see my picture. Let's choose one. So we have that one. We can kind of go for it, see which is really, really pretty. I like that one. Don't like that one as much. I don't want a picture of him. That's supposedly a picture of me. But I think this forest landscape one is super pretty. And I want this picture. Where's it gonna go? Okay. There we go. So we're filling in our desk. We got a little orchid plant. Now we have a little picture. I'm gonna slowly fill our desk in. And I'm super happy about it. That's exciting. Because I never got to see the full effect of my full desk filled in last time. So I'm very excited to see how that comes out. All right, time to get abducted. Here we go. Looks like Trisha went somewhere for a minute and didn't close the... Moonbeam was sitting on the doorstep. The next moment he looked past Mia. In a flash, someone grabbed Mia from behind, covering her mouth with their hand. She tried to wrestle herself free, but she was held tight, so hard that it became increasingly clear this was not a man. The girl struggled violently. A second pair of hands grabbed her hair. Don't move. I know this is diplomacy versus fortitude, but I think we'll be a little cheeky this time. Bite the hand covering the mouth. Mia with the coarse, cold fingers with all her might. She heard bones crack. Yeah! Damn it. The group loosened. With no regard for the blood on her lips, the girl dashed away. The one holding her hair came into view. It was the vampire from the Betty Bart concert. Hit him. Mia punched him square in the face. The vampire flew backwards. She darted back, using the one holding her from behind had as leverage. The girl bounced, assessing the situation. It couldn't get much worse. There were 3 of them, all vampires. That tall one, he always just cracks me up with how he looks. The tall one attacked, raising his fist. Mia dodged with lightning speed. His fist knocked a chunk of the plaster from the wall. The girl jumped towards the shaved one, kicking him in the knee. Knocking him into the other, she rushed to the stairs. If I can just manage to get to the street. From there. She did not make it. Someone leaned heavily onto her back. They rolled on the floor, scrambling for a handhold. Mia spotted the tall vampire's shoe with the corner of her eye. Take this. Mia took a hit to the cheekbone and passed out. Take her. The whole fight didn't even last a couple of minutes. But we were kicking butt this time, though. And we're gonna kick some more butt as soon as we get to the place. And Trisha coming out. Hey, what's all the rumble about? Alright, so we need to figure out how we're gonna attack. I think this time I'm going to climb up the pipes above the door. Last time I stood behind the door. As Mia easily climbed onto the pipes and waited, after a while the door opened with a short clang. The girl immediately recognized the one who entered. While the vampire was staring at the chain lying on the floor, Mia attacked. Jumping from behind, she knocked down her enemy. Don't let him scream, someone might hear. She needs to act quickly. Stunned. The girl grabbed the vampire by the head, pulling him up and tossing him against the concrete floor. Jeez. He went limp. Mia hit him a few more times. The girl listened. It's quiet for now, but he'll come to his senses any minute. Mia hadn't thought through her next step. Now she wasn't sure she should leave the vampire alive. He could call for help. Yeah, interrogate. Mia waited for the vampire to wake up. She pressed him to the floor, holding his mouth. Screaming, you're dead. Now blink if you understand. He blinked and the girl moved her hand, letting him speak. Who are you? What do you want from me? I served Thomas. You saw him. The bearded one. He followed me from the Benny Bont concert, right? No, he was already ordered to take you. By who? I don't know. You're lying. I swear. Mia turned to his door and listened. Tell me about this Thomas. He's working for someone. For a vampire? Yes, he wouldn't work for people. Continue. We're just helping him. How many of you are there? I'm alone. I don't believe you. The vampire tried to scream. Help! She covered his mouth again. She briefly knocked him out with a punch. Mia dragged the shaved vampire close to the pipe she was chained to. She lifted the heavy chain. Her enemy moved. You forced me to do this. The girl slammed the chain into the vampire's head with all her might. A loud crunch and the clang of metal merged into a single sickening sound. She turned away suddenly, a lump forming in her throat. Ugh. Had her stomach not been empty, she probably would have vomited. Without turning her back, Mia left and closed the door behind her, just in case she even bolted it. How many of them are still left? 3 kidnapped me. Okay, here he is. Did you get stuck there? Hey, do you hear me? The vampire approached calmly, clear not expecting an attack. He was the one who kicked me back in the dorms. The girl moved back, moving into an alcove covered with cobwebs. As soon as her enemy caught up with her, Mia hit him in the temple. Ow! The vampire managed to dodge the second blow. Hit him in the knee, hit him in the head. Nini? Ha! He dodged again, the blow hit the wall, plaster fell from the ceiling. Dang it. Take that! Ouch. The punch to her ribs knocked her back, but the girl managed to keep her balance. Do you like being hurt? Do you? She felt dizzy and her body felt heavy. This unsettling feeling was familiar. The vampire was hypnotizing her. Everything seemed to be covered with fog, and only her enemy's eyes remained in focus. Mia miraculously noticed as he took a swing for a hit from the side. Back up? The girl recoiled sharply, her back bumping against the wall. She concentrated, resisting hypnosis. She saw the vampire attacking again, jumping towards her and swinging from above at her head. Go right. Mia dodged to the side, and the blow only slightly brushed her shoulder. Take that, you beast. The vampire could no longer suppress her will, and the girl kneed him below the belt. He doubled over. And this time, kill with malice. Being super cheeky. We're not messing around. Mia hit him in the back of his head and knocked him down. Well, freak, guess you can't beat one girl without your friends. She kneed him in the back, took his head with both hands, and pulled it back and sideways. Crunch. The vampire collapsed face down into the garbage on the floor. Wincing in disgust, the girl picked up a large piece of brick. Just in case, you are resilient. With a brutal blow, she finished off the vampire. What do you want from me? The girl stepped aside, taking several deep breaths to calm herself. She felt better than she had after the fight on the way from the wolves' place to the city. I'm getting used to it. We are not messing around this time. They better not fuck with us. Dude. Seriously, I am not going to be messing around. I am taking people out this time. Well, except the people I know that I need to have at their ending. Otherwise, because otherwise people like Howard, I would have had them killed. But, yeah. We need him somehow. Alright, so we're being attacked by Thomas. Popping in, we were talking to the homeless man. And I got hit. The blow threw the girl to the side and she blacked out for a moment. When she opened her eyes, the vampire was holding the homeless man by the collar. You're a useless witness to me. And another dead hobo for the police. He dug his fangs into the man's throat. Mia's head was swimming and she could barely stand up. Okay. Check me out here, right? So, we save this man's life if we go find a weapon, right? And then we ask him nicely never to contact us again. He does anyway and tries to blackmail us for money. I said we might be a little savage this time around. I'm kind of down for leaving him to his fate. Look, he in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's not my business. He shouldn't have came back. I thought that was real fucked up. Especially after she saved his life. So, I'm being mean today. I'm being a little mean today. So let's run up to the vampire instead. Let's just see what happens. Let's see how we feel about it. The girl stood up shaking. She rushed at the vampire. He noticed her. He threw the man against the wall and turned to Mia. Or does he not die? Judging by the way the man fell, he was obviously dead. It was quick. It was quick. Okay? It was quick. Just a quick knot. It was quick. The vampire attacked. The girl had to retreat, her head still swimming. But she quickly came to her senses. Mia somehow dodged the first blows. Then he delivered a punch. The girl could not breathe. She bent over, her chest burning with pain. She thought her ribs might be broken. You know, they told me to take you alive. But you and your werewolf friend pissed me off during that idiot bar concert. Hello, I went with Victor this time, so... That line is busted and wrong. I need to fix that. So I'll kill you. Then I'll get to him. You couldn't take Victor the first time. Max either. Mia realized this vampire was too dangerous. She couldn't hope to take him. She had only one chance. There was a deep, gaping pit right behind the vampire. Shove him. We're gonna Spartan kick him right into the hole. The girl leaped forward, screaming with simultaneous rage and pain from her ribs. Her body did not want to obey her. A bloody veil covered her eyes. Mia struck the vampire with both fists at random, throwing him over the edge of the pit. Her enemy waved his arms. He was still trying to grab hold of the air as he fell into the darkness. His feet slipped. Bye! A thud and a crunching sound came from below. Mia sat down heavily on the floor, curling up. Oh, ow. The pain finally robbed her of her strength. Ow, damn. The girl lost track of time. She lay helplessly like a fish on the shore. So let's see what happens, because last time we talked to the guy afterwards. Finally she regenerated and Mia felt better. No tears, no fear, no anger. I'm wildly tired and thirsty. Her pent-up nerves felt like they were about to burst. I don't think I can take this any longer. I have to get up. Mia looked into the pit, frowned, and turned away. It was a mine shaft about 10 meters deep, no less. Rusty equipment and support jutted out below. The vampire was impaled on them. You chose your own path. The girl looked at the homeless man. Another person died. He was in the wrong place at the wrong That's what I said! She remembered the vampire's words. He was ordered to take me. I must go. Whoever he was working for could show up at any time. Mia walked around the area. Her purse and phone were nowhere to be found. It's no good. I can't search the whole place. I probably shouldn't worry about leaving tracks. The master of these vampires will make an appearance sooner or later. He can take care of everything. Look, I know I should probably feel bad, but he screwed me over later. I remember that shit. Okay? It was quick. I don't feel that bad, to be honest. I don't. I'm just like straight savage right now, dude. Oh, I just found out something interesting. Okay, so on this option, I'm going to choose coffee and tell me what's new. Camilla brought the cups. The rest refused, so I had no need to work. So what's new here? Trevor's been being all mysterious. He says he's preparing a bomb. So, okay, that's a hint to the werewolf stuff that he's looking into that gets him into trouble that we need to save him from later, and that causes him to turn into a werewolf himself. He says, if you had stopped by yesterday, you would have met Lewis's wife. So this is actually the first time you get to hear about Lewis's wife. So you have an idea that he does have a family. Yeah, and so it's a little bit easier to discern that it's his wife that's in danger later when she gets abducted. So I just thought that was interesting. I just learned that. Because right now I'm just following the walkthrough. She came in and we talked to her for half the day. I didn't know that he was married. It's been a long time. They're high school sweethearts. She's a very nice girl. I can't believe she went for someone as wicked as Lewis. And you, Mr. Van Hart? I beg your pardon? Are you married? Camilla, did I ask something wrong? In my experience, gaggles of girls chase after men like you. Mia realized asking a vampire such personal questions was tactless. It would be impolite to ignore her, so Victor answered as dryly as possible. No. How strange. Oh, by the way, Mia, I started editing your article. The boss liked it. I did too. Okay. But those were just some interesting little details that I didn't get the first time. So I thought that'd be interesting to take note of. So this butthead is trying to get the money from us right now, as if I have it right here in my freaking hand for the information so we can rob the bank. Let's try to blackmail our office. And me is like a little upset, but I realize there's a gift of blood choice here. Says, are you sane? What do you take me for, the mafia? I don't care that much money on me. I promise you'll get everything. Well, when you have cash, come back for the plan. The street was empty without a single passerby. I gave my word. Grab him by the throat. With a lightning fast motion, the girl grabbed the clerk by the neck. You need to trust people who treat you well. She pulled him to her, whispering in his ear, give me the plan and go home. And I'll bring the money later. Do you understand? Feeling me a strong grip, the man nodded carefully. Yes, sorry. That's great. I love playing like this. This is fun. Put it in your purse. Remember, no one should know about our meeting. Then Mia headed to the place where she rescued the strange Stanley Fisher. Alright, I got a little banner that said Path of Blood. We're about to bust into the bank. Hiding in the shadows, the girl waited. Almost immediately, the service door opened and a man stepped out. In order to avoid doing any permanent damage, Mia swiftly jumped at him, grabbing his throat. The security guard suddenly grabbed for his holster. The girl dug her fingers into a pressure point as Victor had taught her, and the man went limp. There. Holding the heavy body, she took the keys and dragged the guard inside the bank. Yeesh. As soon as Mia entered, she heard Victor over the earpiece. Everything is good on my end. The communication channels and alarms are under control. Oh, no one starts shooting. The girl pulled out the floor plan drawn up by the ex-clerk. Mia, why are you silent? I'm here. I need to take stock of things and decide where to go next. A left turn, the second door. The control room. There should be a video surveillance operator in there. I'll turn off the lights so the guard will go out into the corridor. Let me know when you're ready. The girl took a moment to think about how she would deal with him. Take him out by preparing the trap or as soon as the door opens. Should I prepare a trap? Well, I prepared a trap last time. Let's see what this does. Victor, turn off the light in 5 seconds. 4. Oh, that's 4 too. Whoops. She crept up to the door, mentally continuing the countdown. 3. She stood aside, leaning against the wall. 2. 1. The area was plunged into darkness. The operator's voice was audible through the thin office wall. Oh no! Post 1! Post 1, come in! Ugh, useless junk. The door opened. Mia saw a silhouette in the doorway. She stepped towards him. Who's there? The man managed to pull a stun gun off his belt. The girl struck. The blow hit him full force. After dragging the operator into the control room, Mia returned to the corridor. Bring the lights back. Thank you. The headset whispered back. Is everything alright? Yes. Do not forget, there's at least one more guard left. I remember. The security system will reboot in a few minutes. Once I've shut it down again, I'll find you. Got it. I'm going to the archive. The vampire was looking at the Eastern Unlimited Trust building, then at the laptop. The program he'd purchased from the hackers was loading up very slowly. Another minute. Victor, the archive is empty. What do you mean? There's nothing here, just empty shelving. I'll be with you soon. I'll start searching other offices. When the restart was completed, Victor tapped the enter button. Done. The system is still down. Mia opened one door after another. Behind there were offices with computers, cabinets, and shelves full of papers. It's impossible to check everything. We don't have time. The clerk lied or the archive was moved after he was fired. Suddenly the girl noticed lights on behind a door labeled Director at the end of the corridor. Mia took a few steps forward, something hard pressed against the back of her head. She heard a voice from behind. Stop! How many of you are there? I'm alone. You lie. Hands in the air. If you move, I'll shoot you. Turn and hit. The girl abruptly dropped down and spun around, a huge guard pointing his gun at her. However, he was too slow to get ahead of Mia. Ha! A sharp blow to the jaw made the guard jerk his head, cracking some vertebrae in his neck. Oh! Mia was scared that she'd killed him, but the man turned out to be very strong. He didn't even faint. Victor appeared behind the guard and hit him on the back of the head. His large body would have collapsed with a terrible crash, but the vampire caught him and quietly lowered him to the floor. Frightened? The girl shook her head. The guard is just stunned. I knocked out one more guard on the way here. I think this was the last one. Victor looked at the office where Mia was heading. What commendable passion. It seems the bank director works around the clock. I don't know, but I thought we killed that dude for a second. Oh, that freaked me out just a little bit. Alright, let's make him talk by force. Mia approached the man. The blow of the fragile girl easily knocked down the big banker. She pressed him to the floor using a chair. The fat man struggled, but all in vain. Tell me everything, otherwise. Richard and I like what was happening. Get off of him, let me. Can I do it, please? I need to learn. He deserves it. Fine. What do I do with you? I can do it, alright? Mia looked down at the banker. Okay? Or should I let my friend deal with you? Who are you? None of your business. The archive? It was moved. Why exactly? Listen, I'm not guilty of anything. I just handle money. The bank is run by a figurehead. This idiot tried to scam some newspaper or magazine. They went to court. It was a big deal. I had to clean up everything in case we were inspected. Go on. That's all. I don't know where the documents were hidden. What are you doing here in the middle of the night? I'll tell you. The director is an idiot. I came to make sure that he didn't store any information about me here. Do you want to live? You're totally nuts. The vampire leaned over the banker. Convince us that there's a reason to leave you alive. Making the girl wait is rude. What do you want? Where do you keep the real books? What? The bank's archives was moved, as were the records of the transactions through which you, the real owner, receive your money. Why do you want those? I'll give it all to the police so that Eastern Unlimited Trust is shut down, but you'll stay alive. The banker looked at the vampire. Are you serious? Do not doubt it. This isn't how you do things. There are people. They have a strong interest in me. They will find you wherever you go. You don't have to worry about us, but about yourself. Convinced, the banker gave an address. My accountant lives there. He has all the papers plus information on his computer. Well done. Another question. Do you know the combination to the safe behind the painting? No, I'm not interested in the director's money and little secrets. Do you see anything resembling a combination while digging around the office? There are more than a dozen things that could be it between the notes and computer. Show me. Victor easily lifts up the banker, nudging him towards the desk. Here and here. Sets of numbers are recording different computer files and on paper. And here, there may be more. The vampire looked the man in the eye and he fainted. I'm guessing he used hypnosis on him, but it's just funny. Like, Victor would just look at him and he would pass the fuck out. Oh my gosh. The vampire acts suddenly. Do you want to celebrate? What? A successful bank robbery. We didn't rob it. Well, okay. A bank break-in. If she be fair and wise, fairness and wit, the one's for use, the other useth it. Does it matter if I know? Should I look it up? I'm gonna look it up. The internet says that it's Shakespeare. Yes, Othello, Iago. Why? Just saying you have an incredibly valuable talent. One could say it's even a gift. You can lead an interesting life. Truly, not many people can manage it. I can? Victor, I have to. You're not a weak-willed toy of fate. Was it necessary to break into the bank? Yes. How could I ignore the situation at the office? Simple. I assure you, the vast majority would just accept it. You find options that you were not offered. You choose your path. The girl just shrugged. It's just not easy. In the normally cold voice of the vampire, there was a shadow of softness. He just looked at her sadly. It's true. After all, my dear, perhaps no one has ever walked a path like yours. Mia pondered his words. The vampire turned on some music. A gentle, slow melody filled the car. The enchanting song led the girl's thoughts. She watched the buildings passing by outside and the ordinary people going about their lives. Then her eyes stopped on him. I always liked the song. I missed the song. Sharp chin, defined cheekbones, rarely smiling lips. His nimble fingers are as confident as they are tender. Who are you, Victor Van Art? I know so little about you. And that is why we're on this route right now. When can we just talk without glancing over our shoulders and avoiding topics? Without this chasm of time separating us? After all I know, I believe you want it too. Why did you build a frigid wall around yourself? Who am I to you? The girl didn't realize she'd asked this question aloud. Embarrassed, Mia looked away. Sorry, I have no right to demand an answer. Forget it. She was already sure that he wouldn't answer, but Victor said, What do you think of the music? It's beautiful. Can you describe it in more detail? I don't know. Gentle, appealing, soft. Mia listened to the sounds of the melody. Sensual. Right. And also strong. Deep. Yes, inspirational. The vampire gave her a half smile. It's Bright Lights by Martin Jacobi. You are exactly like that. Maybe you are the moon meant to illuminate my night. And maybe... What? Mia wanted to ask so much but did not dare. She only ran her fingertips across his cheek. So far and so close. The car circled around the city. So, will you accept my invitation? Dinner at a restaurant? A date with Victor at a restaurant is sure to be memorable. Of course, if I could manage it. And there it is, that expensive ass date. The first indication that he's going to have a very expensive taste. All right, fine. Fine. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to play this during the diamond event. But we're okay. We're okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We got this. I just want to get changed at least. Of course, it's not Rue de Faubourg. You know what? But I know some decent shops around here. Look. Saint Honore? What is that? In Paris, near Vendôme Square. Have you been to Europe? You could say that. Oh, definitely say that. You got followers there too. Great. It seemed to me like a shadow flashed across the vampire's face. Someday I'll go there. You will. We will. They made a stop and Mia freshened up. Ooh. Oh wow, these are new dresses I've never seen before. That one's really pretty. It's certainly interesting. I doubt it has an effect on the story. You know what? Let's do it up. We're gonna be fancy. Am I gonna fix my hair? Nope. Then Van Aert took the girl to the restaurant. The small space was welcoming, with soft lights and few people. Oh, there's live music. I wonder if they know that melody from the car. I'll find out. Go inside for now. Our table is over there. A minute later, the vampire returned to the girl. When did you book it? Will you answer? Yesterday. And if I had refused? Not to mention that we could have been caught. Victor set aside the menu he just brought. It's okay. I would cancel the reservation. It's nothing. Especially if we were caught. Mia, I just like to keep everything under control. And how about me? Do you manage to keep everything under control? The vampire gave the girl an affectionate look. I told you, you were a special case. What will you order? What would you recommend? I suggest Peking duck, accompanied by a glass of red from Tuscany. That sounds delicious. Tuscany. That's... I'm gonna look it up. Tuscany. Italian region. Italy? Yes. Tell me what, I'm gonna be Googling my way through Victor's route. Tuscany is where the Italian Renaissance originated, and the birthplace of the great Dante Alighieri, Michelangelo, and Leonardo da Vinci. There is also the Chianti Valley. You may have heard about a wine with the same name. I have! From Cells in the Freaking Fog! The exquisite wine and the bird made a wonderful celebration dinner. Victor Van Aert, you are a gourmet. During a vampire's life, you come to learn many things, whether you want to or not, including gastronomy. Although I did not try the Peking duck while in China, this dish eluded me for many years. When were you born? He hesitated with his answer. Let's just say I was born before the abolition of slavery in the United States. And Noel and Dustin? Noel is much older. Dustin is very young. He could be your elder brother. The evening was beautiful. Mia was once again convinced that the vampire is not only an interesting storyteller, but even the silent pauses felt comfortable with him. When the girl finished her cream puff, Victor asked, Oh, I want a cream puff. That sounds good. Do you want to order something else? Oh, no, I'm full. Then let's go. Where? Where do you want to go now? Confused, Mia bit her lip. I requested that they bring the car from the lot. Okay, so he likes to anticipate a lot. Victor was walking through the house without turning on the lights. He opened the door to the bedroom. Okay. Stopping in the doorway, he looked over his shoulder for a moment. He disappeared into the room. The girl followed him. She walked slowly. The sound of her footsteps seemed too loud in the silence. The scent of roses and wax wafted through the thick air. The vampire was waiting. The girl noticed that his eyes were closed. Victor? Why don't you look at me? I want you to say it first. Say it yourself. Say what? Tell me what you want. Mia came close to him. Stroke his chest or a kiss? Let's go for a kiss. I'm gonna take a picture too. The coolness of his tender lips, only for a moment. The vampire took a step back. No, first, tell me what you want. The girl felt desire spreading throughout her body. She felt weak at the knees and her head spun. Her voice faltered, almost whispering. You. Victor smiled but remained in place, his eyes closed. Say it clearly and loudly. I want you, Victor Van Art. His thick dark lashes twitched. His eyes. The vampire's gaze penetrated deep, scattering her thoughts. I have a gift for you. The movement of his lips. It's in the closet. The girl obediently opened the door. She saw a velvet box on the shelf. Inside, a snow-white wild rose lay on satin. The whole stem and its leaves were covered by long, thin thorns. Mia carefully took the flower. It pricked her fingers immediately. Victor watched the girl closely, slowly unbuttoning his shirt. Cufflinks casually fell to the floor, lost among the petals. His velvety voice, like a cozy sweater, like her favorite warm blanket or soft fur, called her. Come here. Mia's lips parted slightly. Her breathing became deep and ragged. She obeyed. When the vampire's fingers began to free her from her clothes, Mia dropped the white flower. You yourself wanted to. Now hold it tight. Do not drop it. Victor put the rose back in the girl's hands. That's it. The rose pricked her fingers. I wanted to stay with you. Stroke chest with the flower? The vampire's gaze traced the white bud. You are beautiful. Do not be afraid. Yeah. Mia stood there among the candles and petals, absolutely naked, feeling the thorns scratch her skin and waiting for the caress of the vampire. Victor walked around the girl in circles, admiring. His presence felt somehow predatory, dangerous. His movement assumed a feline grace. Then he grabbed Mia in his arms and laid her on the bed. His palms slid between her hips, spreading them, wide, very wide. Now the vampire saw all of her. He lay down next to her. He touched her breast, shoulders, and slid towards her navel. The girl involuntarily clenched her fingers and immediately felt a sharp pain. Holding on to the rose was not easy. But she didn't want to go against Victor's desire. Or couldn't? With a light touch like a moth, his cool hands teased her lusting body. The girl stretched, arching, wanting to prolong the contact. Now be patient a little longer. I want to see you open up to me. This is a dark delusion. He's like a magician of the night. He puts a spell on me, bewitches me. His cold caress, the depth of his eyes. Mia felt her own scent blending with the fragrance of the room, the scent of her skin, hair, desires. She closed her eyes just to open them the next moment and see Victor above her. One movement, confident, smooth, and deep. Thorns pierced through the skin of the hand holding the rose. Another thrust, now sharper, deeper. A drop of blood ran down the girl's palm. A pause. Oh, yeah, last time we bled around him, he freaked out. He moved again, gently but as deeply as he could, and again, and again. Look at me. He was not asking, he commanded. Mia focused her vision. On the man who had her, he owned all of her. It wasn't enough for him to own her body. He subdued her will, her desires. The whole universe shrinks until it is only him. The world was shaking, vibrating from tension, ready to burst and scatter into 1,000 pieces in an instant. The cruel white rose covered her palms with deep scratches. Mia almost did not feel the pain. She opened up to the vampire, obeyed. She belonged to him. But she also discovered his power. A raging ice storm permeated with deep longing, usually securely hidden. This force spilled out, overwhelming. But it did not crush the girl. It seemed to be pulling her up, helping her ascend. It seemed that if the vampire wanted, he was capable of bringing the world to its knees. He was all hers. Their movements merged as one. Victor and Mia were one. They floated, their minds lost in the moment. A scream, a moan, and then climax. The boundless abyss, the endless space in which he is now, Victor Van Art. The vampire gently took the flower from the girl's hands. He leaned over her palms, kissing away the blood. Are you still hypnotizing me? That's for you to decide. Aren't you scared? Another scarlet drop disappeared under his lips. Mia shook her head. Then sleep. Hypnotizing? The girl eagerly relaxed, stretched out on the silk sheet. Or is he not? Mia smiled. What difference does it make? The vampire took a long time caressing her hands, injured by the rose. Okay. I think it was worth the money. I do think it was worth the gems. Waking up, Mia realized she was alone in the room. There were no candles and no rose petals from last night. Only the bud of a white wild rose was lying next to the pillow. Having taken a shower, the girl went to search for the owner of the house. Victor was near the fireplace. Hi. Good morning. Absolutely impenetrable eyes, an emphatically polite tone. Why do you close up like that? I will only mess everything up if I speak now. Coffee? Just the liberty of ordering breakfast from the restaurant. Of course you did. I think you'll like something. Definitely, and I will not say no to coffee. Do you spend time in Colombia, perchance? No, the coffee maker will take care of the coffee. Vic, why were you so calm around blood yesterday? So it did scare you. The temperature of the vampire's voice dropped another few degrees. What's the matter? No, not scared. I'm asking now. Not yesterday. What's the matter? Victor suddenly hugged Mia to his chest. I'm sorry. I will definitely tell you later. It is not so simple. Never mind. Okay. And will you explain about the blood? The vampire responded calmly. Back then I was on edge. I was starved for too long. And he added quite warm and gently. Someday you yourself will ask me to take your blood. Mia smiled. Interesting. Oh, I know something interesting. So, when Howard Terry given his big spiel or whatever, I noticed that ancient vampire guy in the back, when we asked Max about them, and also later we get to go to the same people when we learn more about the Moonborn lady. I just thought that was interesting that his picture was there. I never noticed that before. I wasn't really paying attention to what Howard was saying. I was just kind of clicking along. And then I saw it in the background because I was just kind of looking around. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. So, a fight broke out. So, it looks like we'll probably be using some of our Path of Blood soon. So, let me go ahead and go see what's going to happen. Seemed to be managing. And then Howard intervened. Van Art? He attacked Victor from behind, reaching out with his heavy fist. The balance of power had changed markedly. Ethan Wood's competitor was strong. Mia was already wondering if it was time for her to join the battle when suddenly... Oh, here it is. I'm out! One of the vampires ran for the door. Wounded by Max, bleeding, he was trying to escape. Oh, hell no. I can't let him go. The girl blocked the vampire's way. Do something about it. Hit him in the head. Ha! Her enemy fell, but immediately jumped to his feet again. I'll kill you, little beat. Mia's second blow shoved the words back down his throat. However, the vampire was strong. The girl didn't want to mess with him at all. Let me go. Maybe he isn't guilty of anything? She caught herself feeling sorry for him. The vampire walked towards her, looking into her eyes, and Mia backed away until she neared the fireplace. This is hypnosis. He's controlling me. She had only a moment to make a decision. Last time we did harsh hypnosis. Okay, this time we're going to do a brutal blow. The girl twisted so swiftly that she felt pain in her muscles and tendons. She grabbed the fireplace poker. Ha! The sharp hook, convenient for turning over firewood on the hearth, hit the vampire in the temple. Oof. Her enemy collapsed, the poker jammed in his head. A red puddle spread on the floor. Trying not to step in the blood, Mia stepped over her enemy. The pain in her body began to slowly recede. Damn. The girl turned away, wincing in disgust. The sounds of battle in the room subsided. Max immediately appeared. How are you holding up here? I'm fine. I wonder, is that it? I don't know. I think so. I think that's it for now. Straight savage. I love it so much. I love it. So it's an interesting change. Like, we just fucking people up this time around. I like it a lot. Pretty sure this is the point where we need to decide who we're dating, either Max or Victor. So let's go ahead and see how that turns out this time. It says, how was your day? Good. I'm finally finished with those documents. Now I can get back to writing articles. Have you begun to love this job? Well, writing is more interesting than raking through papers. Do you think it's worth helping Walter? He doesn't really know anything. Where to take blood, what your hierarchy looks like? Yes, I will meet him and talk to him. Mia, would you like to relax a little? What do you mean? The vampire took the girl by the hand. I would love it if you accept my invitation to dinner. How about tomorrow night? Did they conspire? No, it must be a coincidence. Decide if you're interested in further romance with Victor or Max. Victor is waiting for my answer. Perhaps neither of them is right for me? That would be interesting. Who else do you romance? Like what, Simon or Francis? I think. But anyway, we're going to accept Victor's invitation. You have a serious romantic relationship with Victor. I'm happy to keep you company. Vannar put Mia's palm to his lips and kissing it said, Thank you. Victor, if we have a date tomorrow, I have things to do. I need to get to the city. I need to go shopping, go to the beauty salon. Victor took out his car keys. Sorry, but it's better if I do it myself. Should I call you a cab? The girl smiled and nodded. Maybe you should go tomorrow. And by the way, if it's not a secret, where are you going? I want to devote some time to myself and my beauty. Tomorrow I have to go into the editorial office. Well, good. Okay, cool. Having plotted her course, the girl went in search of a dress for tomorrow's dinner. She called Max later. The werewolf accepted the rejection without unnecessary injury. He even joked a couple of times. I mean, you should. I didn't romance him, like, at all. Which is difficult. The lake scene? But, okay. I was tempted for a second. Oh, man. They really tried to tempt you there, man. That was up. That was messed up. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. I think the clothing options should pretty much be the same. I have a few extra options because of we stole all that stuff, all that money. So, but I think the options should be pretty much the same. See what we can come up with. The next evening, Mia got ready and headed out, a car already waiting for her. Hello? Hi. In his hands was a black satin ribbon. Let me have this little surprise. Excuse me, a blindfold for where we're going. Mia smiled and closed her eyelids. A cool cloth touched her face. Oh, it looks weird. It's like they drew like marker across her eyes. The vampire took the girl by the hand. His touch became, for her, the only landmark in the world. Vannar got Mia in the car. He was incredibly gentle, as if handling the most fragile jewel on earth. The wheels rustled quietly along the road. The girl, deprived of the opportunity to see, tried to figure out the route by the turns and stops at traffic lights. It was not a long ride. The car stopped. The vampire carefully helped Mia get out of the car. Peep. Now just ask. Wait for just a second. You'll see soon. Stepping carefully, the girl walked, led by the vampire. The soundscape changed. A hall or something like it? The floor is flat. I can hear the footsteps echo. This is definitely the sound of an elevator. A light push, and then they lifted up. Then Victor picked up the girl in his arms, and she was held the rest of the way up. Mia's feet touched a hard surface. A fresh breeze brushed at her hair. The vampire removed the blindfold from her eyes. That's cute. Open space, darkness, and billions of lights dotting it. The city night stretched below, under her feet, generously layered with multicolored luminous dots. House windows, headlights of cars crawling along the roads, and lanterns created a fantastic, lively pattern. The sky stretched above her head like a velvet black dome adorned with countless diamonds of stars. Mia involuntarily sighed. There was something majestic and very intimate about it. At the same time, beauty with a somehow personal touch. A gust of wind. The girl looked away from the fascinating spectacle. Victor, thank you. This is amazing. She stood on the edge of the roof of one of the tallest skyscrapers in the city. Van Art was beside her, ready to catch her to protect her from any awkward step and falling down. There was a table, with dinner already served. Besides it, about 30 steps away, a violinist played something classical. As I understand it, you like live performance. I hope the musicians are not too much. Oh, yeah, because when we got there at the restaurant, she was like, oh, the music is live. That's cute. Victor, it's incredible. I feel very special. All this is just for me. A glimpse of satisfaction flashed in the eyes of the vampire. It should be like that. I'd do anything for you. Aw, that's adorable. Sorry, just snapping away. Don't mind me. Some wine? Yes. I didn't get a waiter. I really did not want to deny myself the pleasure to care for you personally. The evening was wonderful. Gourmet food pleasantly teased your taste buds, and the wine was relaxing, making the conversation very easy and pleasant. Get to know him better. Absolutely. That's what this whole thing is about, because I wanted to know. Victor, can I ask you something? Of course. Ask about yourself, about his hobbies, ask about feelings. Do I only get one choice? I don't know. Oh, you can ask all three. Okay. Let's see. So ask about yourself. That's asking about him? Wait, that says yourself. That's asking about me. Let's ask him about his hobbies first. What are your hobbies besides music? As you can understand, throughout the years, many hobbies can be acquired. Summarizing, I would just say that I enjoy art, architecture, painting, poetry, and so on. How did it happen that you ended up at this particular college? Mia began to tell the story. Van Art listened with obvious interest and seemed extremely enthusiastic. Okay, let's talk about this. Victor, what do you think about me? Moon of my delight, who knows no wane. The moon of heaven is rising once again. How oft hereafter rising shall she look through this same garden after me in vain? Let me guess, Shakespeare? Omar Khayyam. And if you skip the poetry? To speak of you in prose would be a crime. Ask about feelings. Vic, I try to do what you want, even to be obedient. Interest clearly flashed in the eyes of the vampire. So? It's sometimes hard for me to do, but I'm trying. Would it be fair if I asked about something difficult for you? Of course. It's hard for you to talk about your emotions, but this is important to me. Tell me, what do you feel? Now? Yes, looking at me. I feel that I'm learning to care again, that life has suddenly become important. It's hard for me to say, or to even think about even. You make my heart beat again, and I've forgotten how that feels. Is your request satisfied? For now. Yes. And Mia? Stars falling from the sky, waves crashing against the rocks, sunrises, sunsets. The moon that reigns in the night sky. Compared to you, these are nothing but natural phenomena. Looking at you, I understand the essence of the word beauty. The music floating in the air mixed in with the cool breeze. Can I have this dance? Yes, dance. Please. The vampire reached out his hand. Do you mind a tango? Wow, you definitely overestimate my choreographic talents. Do not worry. This dance suits your temperament. Allow me to lead. The vampire delicately but firmly took Mia's hands, taking a firm tango starting position. Another step. From the first notes, passion blended into music. Led by Victor, the girl lost herself in the dance. Rough at times, then gentle, then domineering, then ready to fall to her knees. Van Art melted, changed shapes, shifting with the melody. Oh, I'm not the only one taken by the tango. Another step, and Mia arched, obeying the flow of his arms. A moment, and he is on his knees in front of her. The girl was flying in the air like a silken scarf, and then wrapped herself around the vampire. Such strength and passion. Exceptional masculinity and boundless femininity. The dizzying dance was exciting as a secret, for only the two of them to share. Victor impulsively pulled the girl towards him and kissed her. Far below are the lights of the big city, and up in the sky there are stars of unknown worlds. These are not the most important thing for right now. All that matters is who's right near right now. The one who embraces me so closely, the one whose eyes reflect my own. Me and Victor spent a lot of time on the roof, enjoying the evening in each other's company. How long does that violinist have to play? I hope we send him home. But that was really cute and nice. They arrived home when it was already late at night. Having decided to drink tea before bedtime, Mia dozed off looking at the fire in the fireplace. She opened her eyes in Victor Van Art's bedroom. This is when the asshole vampire grabs Trisha and begins the first in a long line of weirdness with these two. So here we go. Don't panic. The girl listened. Silent. She could hear only the music coming from the hall. Then Mia concentrated on her vampire senses. After several painfully long seconds, she felt other people's emotions. There was fear behind the door with a man's silhouette drawn on it, and also anticipation. The girl rushed to the door. Seeing Trisha alone, Mia thought she might have got it wrong, but if there's no vampire, why is Trisha here? She felt pain in the back of her head and her vision blurred. Mia did not fall. She turned and saw him. An ordinary girl will certainly lose consciousness from the blow of a vampire. The enemy was very surprised. It gave Mia time to make a decision. Hit him. The girl threw herself at the enemy. Take that. He flew away, hitting his back against the wall. He grinned. That wasn't a grin. Mia hoped that the second blow would disable him, but the vampire dodged. He shoved her aside. I'm not looking for any problems. She was sure that he was newly turned, but he was strong and fast. The opponent attacked. The girl jumped back. Get off me. What do you want? Her. He was looking at Trisha, who was slowly emerging from a hypnotic trance of some kind. How did I get here? Find yourself another victim. Mia blocked her friend with her body. Get out of the way. The vampire jumped. A powerful blow tossed Mia aside. She crashed into one of the booths. Oh! Trisha's cry suddenly stopped. Mia rushed to her, but then froze solid. If you move, I'll cut her throat. The vampire stood behind Trisha. His emotions poured through him. Mia could feel them without concentrating. He's hungry, he's losing it. Any second now, he's gonna bite. Trisha, everything will be fine. Get away. Get out of here. Mia stepped back, trying not to make any sudden movements. Just don't lose your mind, okay? She's mine, you understand? No, she's not. Listen to me, you're new, right? Who turned you? Howard. Because of him, there are a lot of new and confused vampires in the city, right? Wait, you know him? I know him. He left you. Turned, but he didn't teach you how to deal with it. Howard lied. Mia got a little closer to the guy. You want blood, I know the feeling. But Howard didn't say who you can touch and who you can't. If you kill this girl, you will be in so much trouble. 2 steps forward. She belongs to other vampires, very important and respected ones. Oh. So I got something from my baby registry. Sorry. Who are you? I'm the same as you. I'll help. Another little step. Now I will not fail. Back! And attack. Mia rushed forward as fast as she could. Pain pierced through her whole body. Take that. Her small fist smashed into the face of the vampire. You fail. The girl had to catch Trisha, who had lost consciousness. The enemy rose and jumped out of the restroom. Mia did not pursue the vampire, worried more about her friend's condition. Hey, how are you? Trisha didn't answer. Her eyes remained closed. We're trying to rescue Trevor. The transformation had not yet completely finished, but they rushed into battle. Trevor, pale with fear, huddled in a far corner. Van Aert got Remy, the apparent leader of the couple. Mia rushed towards the she-wolf. Lorette tried to clutch at the girl's throat. Jump back. Mia jumped just in time, serious canine teeth clacking all too close. Punch her. The wolf took a blow to the muzzle, swayed. For a moment, Mia thought that she would fall, but Loretta attacked again. The girl was ready to respond to the wolf attack, but suddenly, in utter panic, Trevor rushed to the door. Trevor, come back! He didn't hear or didn't care. Loretta turned her attention to Trevor. Stop the wolf with a blow. Yep. Let's give it a shot. Mia managed to get the strike in time. Take that. The girl's fist stopped Lorette, but at the last moment she still caught Trevor with her claws. The journalist, shouting in pain, backed himself into the corner again. Tramp. Growling took a step toward Mia. Mia hit the she-wolf once, twice. Stunned by the furious attack, Lorette backed away. The girl delivered one blow after another. Mia hammered at the wolf's ribs. Lorette fell, trying to cover both her head and side at the same time. There was a brief glint from a chopping axe on the floor. The girl, blinded by rage, raised the axe over the she-wolf. Don't kill me. Tramp. We're trying to get Trevor in here. I had to hold him down. Calm yourself down already. She hugged her mad colleague's neck, but he shook his head and the girl was flung to the side. Damn it. So now Trevor with a smack. Mia grabbed a pack of paper from the table and took a swing. She hit the journalist on the head. Trevor relaxed suddenly, but did not lose consciousness. After a moment, he moved again. To calm him down, she had to hit him again. Trevor? Stammering, the editor was still able to ask, why did you call it Trevor? We'll explain later. We need to lock him up. In the basement. There's a basement here. Lead. We'll do the rest. Simon, without turning his back on the shaggy creature, headed for the stairs. Mr. Bell, taken aback, stood holding his head. Camilla fainted, and Louis rushed to the street. No. The girl caught up with the layout designer. Let go. Stop. She could not escape from Mia's hands. Louis, don't. She dragged the guy back, following Simon and Victor. Sorry, but we all have to talk. Along the way, the girl helped Mr. Bell rouse Camilla. The basement consisted of several rooms. The layout office was the nearest, and the others were filled with all sorts of junk. Another room was empty. They locked Trevor inside. I think that said it was it. Fucking Louis. He gets on my nerves. Alright, so I have my next object to put on my little desk, which is very nice. Get my golden debut, because that bitch tried to take it from me when she was over cheating. I had to call her out. A great start to your career. Selene pointed to the microphone. The girl looked around the room. Like a small speech, I guess. Thank you. Very happy to receive this award. Give my thanks to the organizers this evening and the members of the jury who praised my article so highly. For a young journalist, even events like this are very important. Frankly, I never believed that topics covered by our publication would attract so much interest. It is very encouraging. I can assure you that I will continue to write about things that are no less mysterious. Together with you, I will try to understand the secrets that surround us. They are closer than we think. And a special thank you to the chief editor and owner of our magazine, Mr. Bow, who believed in me and helped uncover my talent. And I wish everyone good luck. Thank you. Thank you, Raven. As Mia, with a heavy prize in her hands, was about to come down from the stage, Victor climbed onto the stage. Congratulations. He gave her a hand and offered her a huge bouquet. Aw, I love purple. Thank you. These are very beautiful. The vampire gesture generated a new wave of applause. Many girls from the audience looked at Mia with undisguised envy. But where are they from? You didn't have any flowers. In response, the vampire just smiled. Well done. You won. I'm so proud of you. Did everyone see her? She's my friend. She received the golden debut. We have to celebrate. Victor invited the girls to a restaurant. I called a taxi. I remember this place. This is cozy. I like this place. The food is excellent here. I know that, Victor. We've been here before. A table was already waiting for them. Let's just try to pretend it's a different restaurant. The vampire sent the waiter to put the flowers in a vase. He took a bottle from the ice bucket. Do they just keep vases on hand in restaurants? Maybe in fancy ones. I don't know. Champagne? Great. You just got drunk the other night. Last thing you need is more drinks. Sparkling wine bubbled cheerfully in glasses. Mia, here's to your golden article. A wonderful addition to my collection. Oh, the article. I'm like, do you mean me or my trophy? Oh, did I not mention it? I collect your works. Wow. Oh, why? Because I want to. Isn't that reason enough? Well, when it comes to you, it's obviously enough. Victor, Mia said that you are well versed in the arts. I wanted to ask. Oh, isn't she also in journalism as well? It was rare to encounter someone in front of the college late at night. Oh, it's something else, but... Okay. That finishes off season 2 of our Moonborn Victor playthrough, which is pretty exciting. Okay, we're making our way. We're making our way slowly. Yeah, these it reminds me how long these seasons are, which is exciting because it was just a lot of story, which is great. Which definitely led to the story being pretty cool. But yeah. So far, I'm feeling the relationship with Victor a lot more. I think like the second half of the season for sure. Well, yeah, I think the second half of the season for sure, you start to get a little bit more into the romance with him as he opens up a little bit. It's really, really nice, and some of the scenes are really cool. The tango was really cool. I like the date on the rooftop. That was really sweet. Yeah, so I'm getting into it. I'm definitely getting into it. I like it a lot. I think he definitely can shape it up to be a really good LI. And so that's pretty exciting. But anyway, we'll go ahead and end this part right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and show that like button some love. Subscribe to see more content like this. And I will see you next time. Bye.